It's another ridiculous night as my round table joins me, Ben, the Ridiculous Riddick, in rants concerning the nerd culture of yesterday and today. Joining me at my round table this week, I have, as always, Nikki, the Powerful Powell.
What's up?
James over in Capelli's Corner Capelli. I just vomited my words there. And in his Ridiculous Rants debut, Nick Scarpino.
What's up, everybody? I'm Nick Scarpino. Thanks for joining us.
I'm very happy to have you here with us this week, Nick.
I'm happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me. This is already fun.
Yeah, good. I'm glad. I'm glad you're having fun. See, guys, I told you we're fun.
You are fun. You look like you have two.
Had me fooled.
You look like you have two small N64 controllers growing out of the side of your head, and it's amazing.
They look like ear connections.
Wait.
That's why he's our ridiculous leader. He's so well.
You mean you don't have N64 controllers growing out of the side of your head?
I just have two hands.
Okay.
They come from the side of the screens. Whatever.
Some people call me the Doc Ock of Nintendo, so I just need a few extra arms. That's all.
It's beautiful.
I'm assuming that's an octopus.
Yeah. Yes.
Really?
Dead silence. I love it.
I'm not sure if you actually knew who Doc Ock was or not, but it's okay because you're pretty.
Yeah,
Yay.
that's why we keep her here, actually.
See, I come up with all the dumb questions. It's totally fine.
You missed it a couple weeks ago. She asked how big was it, a megabyte?
We already went over this last time.
Yeah, well, I have to go over it again because I'm sure Nick has some things to say about it too.
I'd like to hear this if that's okay. Can you run me through this real quick?
So we were talking about I don't even remember. Yeah, we were talking about how much space digital games take up, and we spoke about gigabytes and megabytes and all that, and Nikki asked, so how big is a gigabyte?
Well, okay, is it like the size of a staple, or is it the size of a box? Like, what's the relationship to the size? Like,
so I think you have to weigh the gigabyte in relation to the megabyte. But Nikki, here's a question for you: which one sounds bigger, the giga or the mega?
The mega. And I don't know if I'm right, okay?
I'm so glad you look good on thumbnails. I'll put it.
Dead serious, I don't know which one's bigger.
So at the end of last week's episode, we talked about different kinds of T-shirts that we would make if we ever made T-shirts. Mm-hmm. I think how big is a gigabyte has to be one of the T-shirts.
You just need to have three little icons. One's like a dog, a box, and then a car. And it's megabyte.
It has to be multiple choice. Is it A, B, or C?
Right. You have to pick one.
Nick, I'm so glad you're here with me today.
Me too.
With us, actually, because I'm not the only one here. This week's topic, guys, we have we're going to go into the past. We're going back to the past, not back to the future, like some people like to do, but back to the past.
By the way, side note: when you were a kid, did the title "Back to the Future"
confuse the hell out of me?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Does it still confuse me as an adult? Yes.
Because they have to get back to the future.
And then,
That's how someone had to explain it to me.
I thought it should make sense, but then Blast from the Past with Brendan Fraser came out, and I just got the two mixed up.
Dude, that movie was awesome. Yeah, that's the one where they go into that bunker, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
with Christopher Walken, is that his dad?
Yeah, that's the dad.
Like, whoa, nuclear weapons! Gotta get in the bunker. Yeah, I always thought they should have said like "Get to the Past." I mean, "Back to the Future" is a really cool title, so I guess that's why they went with it. Yeah. And they wrote an entire screenplay about it, probably. I don't know.
Came up with a title, and then we're like, okay, we got the title. Let's make something up around this.
I'm gonna quick bang out 110 pages.
No, it's because he has to get back to the future from the past.
They get stuck in the past.
Literally just said that.
Awesome.
Like 2 minutes ago.
But how big is the future?
Yeah.
Gigabyte.
I mean,
how much
is it the size of a bread box? Is it the size of a soda can? Like,
which, by the way, that's the stupidest thing. Not stupidest thing. That's one of the weirdest things too. Because when you play that game, like, what is it, 20 questions, I guess, and someone says, "Is it the size of a bread box? Can it fit in a bread box?" And I'm like, how big is a bread? Who buys their bread in a box?
You've never seen a bread
box? You've never
box?
had a bread box?
No, I live on the West Coast with bagels in boxes.
I live on the West Coast. I grew up in the city I live in. It's like a 9-inch by like 16-inch box that has a rolly top or a lifty top or whatever, and you put your bread in there, and it sits on the counter.
It's all right, Nick. I don't have one either.
We had one of those. It's called a refrigerator, and it's like
You keep
I put my
Your bread in the fridge?
No mold in the freezer ever.
What I used to do is I used to get Oro wheat, right? You go to Costco, you get like 4 loaves for the price of one at Costco, and then you take 3 of them, you put them in the freezer. One of them sits on top of the fridge for about 3 days until it starts getting a little weird, then you throw it in the fridge. That's how I roll.
This is the man who knows his bread, guys. All right.
I don't mess around. I don't eat the Oro wheat so much anymore now because I'm trying to do a low carb diet, high protein. Are you familiar with these? They're horrible.
Nick, I was paleo for an entire year. So
how did you do it for a year? I can do it for like a day. Like, do you guys know who Alexis Kazambalides is? She's at Let's Get Lexi on Twitter.
Let's Get Lexi, yeah.
I'm glad you can say her name because every time I look at it, I have a seizure.
It took me a year. It took me a year to be able to actually adequately pronounce her last name, and actually, it was because I met her dad, and her dad is the most intimidating Greek man you'll ever meet in your entire life, and so I had to learn his name before he showed up to the office. Kazambalides, that's how you say it.
Kazambalides.
Yeah, we all said Kazambabopoulos at first, or Cosmopolitus. Not correct. She likes it when you mess it up, though, so please feel free if you ever hear
By all means, throw weird syllables in.
Episode 26 of the Riddickulous Rants podcast, how to pronounce Let's Get Lexi's name.
Absolutely. If you can't tweet at her and say all the different ways to pronounce it, she'll love that. Just spell it phonetically how you think it's pronounced. She'll love it.
Awesome. I don't know if I should trust you, but
people absolutely trust.
Right?
When it comes to Twitter etiquette, I am probably the best at it. So whatever I say on Twitter is 100% honest usually. Speaking of which, if you don't know how to use Instagram, tweet at Tim Geddes and ask him how to use Instagram. Because he loves telling people how to use Instagram.
I've asked him how to use Instagram, and he's ignored me, so I've given up on.
He's like a master at it, so you have to keep asking him every day, if possible.
Okay.
Keep tweeting at him.
I'll ask him that right now. I'll be like, Nick Scarpino told me to ask you, how do I use Instagram?
He's gonna love it. He's at a wedding in Texas, so he's a couple hours ahead. He'll love it right now.
Fantastic. I hope he's getting beauty rest right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Do we have a podcast on today?
We do have a podcast going today.
Huh. Don't we usually start this off with a certain question or something?
We do. What is that question that we usually ask, James?
I think it's something along the lines of, what have you been doing with your life this past week?
Yeah. So, James, what have you been doing with your life this past week?
What have I been doing? I've actually been doing a bit more than I usually do. I'm still plugging through the Song of Ice and Fire games, about halfway through not Clash of Kings, Storm of Swords. Pretty good so far.
Wait, James, can I ask a question?
Do it.
Are you watching the show also?
Yes.
So if I were to start reading that book series now, is it still gratifying to read that while you've already seen the show?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It's a little different because, I can see with the writing style how he hints at the little things that are going to be shown up. His foreshadowing is really good.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, oh, that's a reference to when this happens to Jaime and Brienne, and this is a reference to when Sansa does this thing and stuff like that. So it's cool because also it helps me remember all the characters. If I just went straight into the books, it'd be overwhelming.
I will say
you can skip the first book if you want. Just read a Wikipedia summary of it to get a refresher of what happened. I think it'd be fine.
The first book's really good, though.
It is. So it's like
the first book sets things up really well.
Waste his time on it. Wants to get right into the new stuff that he hasn't gotten to yet. And I get that.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to read the book with the show, so I would read the book and I would figure out. I would have Lee read the synopsis. I would have her tell me what the last thing that happened in the episode was, and then I would read the book to that point.
Oh, that's smart.
Oh, that's cool. I don't think I could space myself out. I'd have to know what happens.
And then I got to a point where that happened, where I was like, I just can't wait. I can't wait a week to figure out what's going to happen. So
here's my only problem with that is that I did the same thing when they made Lord of the Rings. So I was like, I'm going to finish every book the day before I see the movie. That was a miserable idea. It actually ruined the movies for me because the movies are so spot on. You actually feel like you're reading the books, and those damn books took me forever to get through.
Yeah.
So I probably will just finish the HBO series, maybe let a little time go by, and then pick up the actual.
That's not a bad idea either. And but the thing is, there's all this talk about how last week's episode differed a lot from the books. So I think we're going to get to a point where the show is going to really be making its own path for some of it, So I mean, I'm all for it if it does that, especially if it does it well. So,
They do a lot of character combining in the show.
which I like.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's if
Except
they had
Belwas
all the
in the
characters.
show. I want Belwas.
Yeah.
Belwas. Sounds awesome.
He's part of Daenerys' storyline.
Who's the dude that is now was on Nashville, but now he's on that show for no reason? They just subbed him out.
Yeah, that's
Dario?
that's some guy. I forget because my wife was really freaked out about it too.
What did you guys watch Nashville?
I watch
Yes.
it because my wife watches it.
Yeah,
Not
me
a
too.
huge
I do
fan.
too.
But
No, I actually love Nashville because I love Connie Brighton and Hayden Panettiere.
I love Hayden Panettiere. She's amazing.
She is really good.
So my wife was like in love with this guy with the beard. He played a character named Liam on Nashville, and he had this amazing beard. So I guess my wife likes guys with beards. But then he got written off the show because I guess no one knew why until he showed up. I guess on the Game of Thrones. And the first time my wife saw him, she was like right back into it. She was like, he is just so good looking. And, like it's the beard, really. I mean, you know.
You mentioned how long the books are, and I must be a glutton for punishment because the next book that I'm going to read, and I'll probably start it before I even finish reading the Song of Ice and Fire games, is Stephen King's The Stand, which is bigger than any of George Martin's books. So my brother tells me it's one of the best books he's ever read, though. So I'm like, I have to read this.
Is that the one? Is that the one where everyone like? No, it's not the one where everyone disappears like on Earth, where like half the population disappears. What's The Stand about?
It's from what I can remember. He told me like a month or so ago. It's like it eventually boils down to being like this epic story about good versus evil, but it's like everybody like wakes up and they all have like had this strange dream. They all found out they had the same dream of this strange, cloaked, mysterious character, and they find him, and then just shit starts hitting the fan. And so he says it was really good. So I'm gonna read that, and then the Dark Tower series. So it's this whole thing. But to move on, apart from reading that, I picked up Hearthstone this week. That's a lot of fun. It can be very aggravating just when people get the perfect cards to counter you, and it's annoying as hell.
Would I like it, James?
Yeah, I think you would. It's a great game because you can learn it really fast. There's a lot of depth and a lot of cards, a lot of strategy. But a game can last anywhere between 5 and 15 minutes, so it's like, I've got some time to kill.
Oh, nice.
Do it while playing something else or like watching a show, especially if you want to get on your iPad, which I know you were thinking about doing.
Yeah, that is what I was thinking about doing.
So, I mean, yeah, absolutely. My brother's asking me if he should play it too. Yeah, at worst comes to worst, you spent 30 minutes learning a game you found out you didn't like, and it's like, it's just 30 minutes. You know?
Is it free?
Oh yeah, it's free. It's
perfect. Then yeah, I'll try it out.
Open beta? I don't know if it's open beta or officially released yet, but I think it's still in beta. Anyways, I'm doing that, and then I also got Child of Light. I started playing it tonight. It took me 6 download attempts for the Sony servers to let it work, which was aggravating, but it happened, so all right, whatever.
Nikki,
That's what I'm doing.
Hey,
what have you been doing with your life?
I'm still going through Infamous, the first one.
Jesus Christ, Nikki.
Shut up. I had like 5 minutes. It was my last week in school. I finished my last test. Like, I'm done, okay? So you
Sounds like a
shut
pretty
your mouth.
crappy excuse if you ask me.
Yeah.
James is just gearing up for one good smack in the face this weekend when we.
I mean, I'm going to be going to nursing school. I'll be feeling that pain soon enough.
And I'll be bitching at you. Oh, come on, James. I did it. You can do it. God.
Oh, I won't be complaining.
Anyway, so we
Maybe.
watched. Besides playing that, we watched Son of Batman this week.
Oh, so what did you think
I
about it?
want to see it. I haven't seen it yet.
Nah.
Yeah.
I mean, I fell asleep 3/4 of the way through.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
See,
It
I love
wasn't
me
too.
some Damian Wayne. So.
He was a little pain in the ass.
He was a
Yeah.
little pain in the ass.
Wanted to bitch slap him.
That's why I like him. He's dead now.
Oh, spoilers. Okay.
Spoilers, apparently.
Spoilers from like 2 years ago.
Oh, you're not talking about the movie because I fell asleep and didn't watch the ending.
Oh no.
Yeah, I haven't seen the movie.
Oh, okay, yeah. So somewhere in some Batman timeline, he's dead
So
like everyone else.
Yes.
If Damian Wayne dies at the end of Son of Batman, I am so sorry.
I have no idea. I can't confirm. I was not a fan. It didn't. Alfred was the best part of that show.
Yeah.
He was fantastic. I liked him. So we watched that. We went and saw Spider-Man.
What did you think of Amazing Spider-Man 2?
It was so good until the last 5 minutes, and then I wanted to punch somebody because I cried. I'm not spoiling anything, but I was very angry and I cried.
I think I just had what I wanted confirmed.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Just confirm that for every single person watching this podcast also.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But it was really good. I love the action and the effects. The big final fight I thought was really cool.
I just love Andrew Garfield. He's adorable. He's that gangly, totally and completely adorably cute Spider-Man. He's super cute.
I like him a lot too, but I'm super jealous that he gets to make out with Emma Stone first of all.
I know, me too. I'd make out with her. She's adorable.
She is amazing, but he's a little jittery when he's Peter Parker. I think it's interesting when he plays the character. He's kind of very stuttery and bashful Peter Parker. But then when he gets in the Spider-Man costume, obviously that's where he gets his confidence. So I thought it was cool. But sometimes it's a little too much of him hemming and hawing and shucking and look how cool my hair is and could I get any skinnier and I'm the perfect height.
He's adorable and I love him.
I feel like there's something you're trying to get across to us here.
I mean, I'm just saying, I'm just trying to analyze the guy on a real level. What's that perfect life? Awesome British accent. Although his accent in the movie did go a little bit southern at points, which I thought was kind of weird.
I had no idea he was British.
I think he's British, right? Am I wrong?
Yeah, he is British. He's very
I watched
British.
the SNL skit that he did, and he and Emma Stone did a fantastic job. And then the guy, they were practicing kissing, and they were like, "Well, we haven't really kissed before," and it was a super awkward, licking each other's faces, and he grabbed onto her chin at one point. It was great. And they were like, "No, we need a stand-in." So they bring in the guy from Coldplay, and he's like, "Do you mind if I step in?" Emma Stone's like, "No, I totally don't mind at all." And then he pushes Emma Stone out of the way and goes to kiss Andrew Garfield. And he was like, "Well, okay." And then he kissed him, and he's like, "That was the best kiss I've ever had in my entire life." And he died. It was great.
I would make out with any guy from Coldplay. Just say that I did.
Right.
Why not?
Yeah. So we watched that, and then so we were talking about this earlier before the show. I've only seen season 1 of Game of Thrones. And the other day, I went and spent $80 and bought season 2 and season 3, and we just started season 2, right before the podcast. So I'm one episode
just wait till you get to that one part where.
Shut your mouth.
What's his name?
No. I'm taking my headphones out. I love the show, and I think it's fantastic, and I've been dying to buy this. I just haven't had the cash at the moment, so now I do, and I have it.
I will tell you, I'm very proud I'm proud of you for actually purchasing and supporting the show monetarily, because I know a lot of people who couldn't wait and didn't want to pay for it and decided to get it through other means.
Yeah.
And I think that as I get a bit older, I buy everything now. I have to. I used to, back in the day when you were like, well, I don't really want to spend too much money on this because it might not be good. Now I just for some odd reason, I just can't bring myself to pirate anything. I have to buy stuff.
I always feel guilty when I do it.
Last week I wanted to watch Star Wars, and I'm like, I could pirate it off of all these websites, but I really want to just buy it, or I will pay for it. I will pay the amount it takes to buy it if I can stream it now. And I couldn't find a way to stream it by purchasing it, and that makes me angry. I think everything should be available for stream, for a price, or for a price included in something else.
What Star Wars were you trying to watch?
3, 4, and 5. No, 4, 5, 6.
Oh, the movies.
Yeah, the movies. Yeah, because the Clone Wars is on Netflix, and that's on my kind of I need to watch list because everyone says it's amazing.
It's really good.
I know.
Cool.
Netflix original, by the way.
Netflix original. Yeah.
I saw apparently somebody did an edit to make episodes 1, 2, and 3 condensed into one film, just shy of 3 hours. And I really want to watch it to see if it's any good.
So I was trying to find a way to watch it right, and one of my friends, he's come on here before, George Loftus from Press Start to Play. He was like, "Oh, you can watch it here. It's the Cliff Notes version on YouTube." And I was like, "Oh, cool." And I clicked on it, and it says, "Star Wars, the porn, but safe for work." So it was basically the Star Wars parody porn without the porn in it. And I was like, that's not what I was looking for, you jerk. So that's out there to watch for free on YouTube, but the actual Star Wars is not anywhere.
So you guys have spent a lot of time talking about this, and I really didn't care about what you guys were doing. What I wanted to know is what Nick Scarpino's been doing this last week.
Interesting. I just came back from LA, so I had a lot of work this week. I went down there we had a big meeting, and then I saved an extra day, which ended up working out well for me, because one of my all-time idols actually came into the LA office, Mr. Kevin Smith, which was really cool.
Damn, you're already more interesting than me.
Well, I met him for only about 5 minutes, but he was a really cool guy, and he came in with Jason Mewes, and they did the Keeping It Real podcast down there, which is cool. So you guys can listen to that, I think, next week. Or may have actually gone live in audio format. I'm not quite sure when they post it, but
I don't think it has, because I usually listen to that show as soon as it comes out.
They came in, they talked Batman with him a little bit. Josh talked Batman with him a little bit, and then Jim and Eric talked his ear off about all sorts of stuff, which I think includes the new Batman Superman movie. I think they're still trying to get him to show us that picture of what the new Batsuit looks like, but he won't do it just yet.
Batman.
I don't know the man. If I did, I would be trying to ply him with everything in my disposal to see a picture of him. But he was really cool. They're really nice. Took some pictures with us and took off. And then I came home and started watching Beware the Batman because I love watching cartoons way more than my wife knows.
Cartoons are the best.
They are the best.
They are.
And now we can get them streaming. And it's like when I was a kid, I had to watch the X-Men cartoon out of order. Like one day Wolverine would be there, and the
please
next
tell me you're talking about the classic X-Men cartoon.
Like one when I was a kid. Yes, the one from 94.
Nice.
That show is how I learned English.
Really?
Oh yeah.
That's like opposite of the way that Chris Tucker learned Chinese in Rush Hour. Wasn't it Rush Hour? Or which movie was that? I don't know.
Rush Hour, there was Chinese, yes.
Yeah. I'm totally referencing the wrong movie. I know it.
Probably. He also speaks a little bit.
Booty Call. Booty Call. That's how Jamie Foxx's character learned how to speak Chinese, was by watching they lived in Chinatown, and he had the Karate Channel, and he could watch it, but it was subtitled in Chinese.
Let me tell you something. If you ever want to learn another language, the best way to learn that language is to watch the children's cartoons in that language.
Like Ni Hao Kai Lan?
But it depends on...
No, the entire show is that language.
See, I've watched a lot of anime. I don't know Japanese.
Did you actually learn English from the X-Men cartoons?
That's what I assume.
How old were you when those cartoons were happening? Like 4? You're like 94, 95.
Yeah. Were they 94? Are you sure?
I think they were earlier than that.
Yeah.
I know
I feel like they were like 91, 92.
Maybe. The Spider-Man cartoon was like 93, 94.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, the Spider-Man cartoon much newer than the X-Men cartoon.
Was it?
Yeah. But I could be mistaken as well. But yeah. I enjoy cartoons, and that X-Men cartoon definitely does not hold up to the times, just so you know.
You gotta watch 30 episodes, and then you get addicted again.
Is it?
The first 30 episodes. Because I just watched it again. Because when I was a kid, I was like, I wanted to see all these episodes, but you watched them out of order, and sometimes you couldn't catch it, and sometimes your mom made you go, mow the lawn, or you had to go to soccer practice, sit out in the field picking daisies. So,
92. 92 was the first season of that X-Men cartoon.
Sounds about right. Thanks for checking on your iPad.
No problem.
So yeah, that's
basically
what I've been doing. I started watching Beware the Batman, which I actually really like, so I'll probably go and watch a few more of those episodes tonight after the game.
I might have to watch that as well, if it's as good as you say, Nick.
Well, I'm only 2 episodes in, but what I like about it is, did you guys watch the Green Lantern cartoon at all?
Yeah.
No.
So I really liked that cartoon, and it's that same animation style as Clone Wars, and it's really cool. It's fascinating to watch how well done these cartoons are.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a try then.
Give it a shot. Let me know what you think.
I will do that. Is that all you've been doing this week?
Pretty much. I mean, I'm not playing anything right now. I'm still going back and forth debating on. This is sad to say, as a person that works at IGN, but I'm still debating whether or not to get an Xbox One or a PS4. So I'm stalled out when it comes to games right now.
I think you could honestly wait another year before you make that decision.
Yeah,
probably.
I think with a bias, I can tell you PS4.
I would say it with a bias. Even without a bias, I'd say PS4. I've been having a lot of fun on it.
But you have a bias, which makes your unbiased still biased.
No, because I would have purchased an Xbox One this generation if it looked more appealing to me than a PlayStation.
Everyone seems to like Titanfall a whole lot.
I feel like the hype.
I would get a Wii U, Nick. That's what I would get. Yeah, I love my Wii U. It's a blast.
Okay.
And Mario Kart comes out in a couple weeks.
Oh God, I can't wait for that game. That's gonna be so good.
Which game?
Mario Kart.
Oh yeah, it looks pretty amazing. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
I'm torn. If I had a Wii U, I'm like, I don't even know if I would get Smash Brothers on it because I kind of think I'm gonna get it for my 3DS.
You got to get it on your Wii U. I'm a huge.
I mean, I know what you mean.
Smash is one of those games that I still play.
It's a party game. You got to have a bunch of people over, sit in front of the TV, and party it up.
Have you ever sat in a room with like 6 other people and like on your 3DSs and played Mario Kart or something like that?
I want to table this discussion right now. Okay? Because I feel like we've spent about a half an hour talking about something that's not retro gaming, and we're about to talk about a lot of retro gaming in this little discussion, and I want to actually go into this.
Okay.
So, table it for now.
All right, take it away, Ben.
Yeah, I am taking it away. Real quick, just so everyone knows what I was doing all week last week, I unfortunately did not play a goddamn video game at all.
And you get on my case about playing Infamous for like 6 hours.
Nikki, you are not producing, 4 different podcasts all at once, working a surgery shift every day, 5 days a week.
4 trophies this week? Thank you.
4 whole trophies.
4.
But you guys may have noticed a big comic book podcast started this last week called The Poll List. And we're not calling them episodes, I'm sorry. The first issue of The Poll List posted last week. Talked all about the previous week's new releases and some stuff like that. So I've been working on that and writing a whole bunch of comic book reviews, which means reading a lot of comic books, which is such a drag. I mean, come on.
Terrible.
How do you pull through the day?
I have no idea. But let me just say this right now. If you don't read comic books, but you want to get into it, and you want to start with Batman, start with Batman Eternal.
Okay.
Because Batman Eternal is a great jumping on point. We're only 5 issues into the series. So very easy to go pick up 5 issues. It's not a daunting task. Mm-hmm. And I feel like right now, Batman Eternal is the best running Batman that you can get at the comic book store.
Okay.
Is it available digitally? Because I don't do any physical media anymore.
I don't do any physical media either. So yes, Nick, it is available digitally.
Can I download it through the new Comixology app?
You can, not through the new Comixology app, but you can go to www.comixology.com and purchase it there, and then download it through your Comixology app.
Just 10 extra easy steps.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? You know what I like about the Comixology thing, though?
Nothing.
Is I can go onto the Comixology app or website and set subscriptions, so it'll automatically purchase the issues when they come out, which means I don't actually have to press any buttons to purchase these new issues because they are automatically available on my iPad.
Interesting. So, yeah, I'm just teasing. It was confusing when it first happened. I think it was like last week, right, or 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, yeah.
2 weeks ago, and then I figured it out, and now I'm okay. I just finished reading. I'm just caught up on Invincible, and I haven't read comics in years. And some of the guys at work, including Greg, got me onto Invincible, which if you haven't read, it's phenomenal.
It is. I agree. Have you read Saga?
No. Is that good?
You should read Saga. Saga's really good.
Wait, I gotta write these down. It was Batman Eternal and Saga?
Batman Eternal and Saga.
Okay. I also want to read. Tim just finished the Superior Spider-Man series, I guess.
Superior Spider-Man was pretty good.
Pretty good.
I was not a fan of Doc Ock as Spider-Man, but
it's an interesting concept, though.
Yeah, and I think the final issue in it made it well worth sticking through it.
Okay, I'll check them out. My only concern with that is like the comics at $2.99 are a little pricey, and so that can start to eat into your wallet fairly fast. So I tend to like wait for them when they go on sale and then buy in bulk. So
well, each of us on Riddickulous Rants right now are reviewing about 15 different series at a time, which is a lot of fun when we're not on we have to pay for these out of pocket. So
yeah.
I feel your pain.
Publishers and see if they'll send them to you for free from now on.
I should do that, but I figure we better get some work in there first, and then ask.
You can review like 1 or 2, and then I'm pretty sure they'll just send them to you. That's how the world works, right? You don't have to have any sort of lineage for it.
Yeah, but I want to show that I have lineage for it.
I'm just checking. You do. I don't think they're going to send it to you for free. I have no idea how people get free stuff in the industry. I have to pay for everything, sadly. or steal it off of Greg Miller's desk.
I'd
Or
steal it off Greg Miller's desk.
I think that's a great way to do it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that's enough talk about what we've been doing over the last week. We're 30 minutes into the show. People are here. They are watching the show live right now.
Because they love us.
They're going to www.ridiculousrants.com/podcast live to watch us broadcast this show. And they came to talk about some retro games. So, retro games, obviously, the beginning of gaming, is very important to all gamers, but everyone has a very different idea of what retro is. So one of the first things that I want to do is I want to start off finding out what your definition of retro is, and I want to start that with what your first console and your first game were. So Nick, you're our guest.
Okay.
I'm going to put you on the spot. What was your first console and game?
First console I remember playing was the Atari. I can't remember the number of it. I know everyone's gonna kill me for that one, but I think it was like River Run was one of the first games I ever remember playing. I think my Uncle Vince had it, and I used to go visit him, and I'd plop myself down and just play the hell out of that thing.
So for some of our younger listeners, what is River Run?
Oh God, I barely even remember it. I'm gonna totally slide on that. I just remember the name of it, and I couldn't even get it.
Do you run in a river? Because that'd be my guess.
No.
Oh.
I can't even remember. I mean, the earliest memories I really do have are probably when I got my NES. I remember going to a Toys R Us with my mom and begging her to buy it. I think at the time it was like $100, which was, in the 80s.
Outrageous.
Money. It was like outrageous. She was like, "You're not getting this. You're gonna go play sports." And I'm like, "No, I swear, if I get this, then I will also play sports." And I was lying to her at that point.
Anything with a video games at that point in life.
But I don't even
It's
remember.
coming from the same guy who says he's completely honest on Twitter. Who do you really believe?
I'm 100% honest on Twitter. I never say anything dishonest on Twitter ever, or ever tell people to go bug other people on Twitter, like at Tim Geddes or
I really don't know how to use Instagram. I'm sorry.
If you want to know how to use Instagram, I'll tell you, I don't know how to use Instagram either. No one does. But there's one person on this planet that does know how to use Instagram. That's
at Tim Geddes.
If you ask him right now, just tweet at him and ask him, tell him Nick told me that you know how to use Instagram. You'll get 1 billion followers on Instagram. And you don't even have to show your ass in yoga pants or anything like that.
Oh, I've already done that, though. Gosh dang
How do
it.
you?
I don't know. I can't remember.
No, but she posts pictures of her legs in tights almost every day. So
You must be very popular on Instagram, because I'm pretty sure that that's all Instagram's useful for. That and The Rock.
She's gotten like half our followers that way, I have no doubt.
You're welcome.
I'm okay with that.
I also remember on the retro gaming, I had an Apple IIc, which I guess counts, and I played the Aliens game on the Apple IIc, which was the most impossibly hard game to play ever. So that was fun.
Nick, I gotta tell you, you've got a big fan on Twitter of your facial hair right now.
Really?
Michael Vitelli, he loves your beard.
Thanks, Michael Vitelli.
There you
Much
go.
appreciated.
Wow.
Anyway.
Alrighty.
Told me to tell you.
I know. I see that. I'm looking at it right now. It does say that. So that's cool.
Cool. But yeah, I mean, when you talk retro gaming, I think a lot of people they're basically talking about, depending on your age, either the NES or the Super NES and the Genesis era. That's my concept of retro gaming, probably right there. But I feel like there was a point at which we should define that, right? Like, what is retro gaming for every single one of us? Because I don't know how old you guys are, but to me, like, yeah, literally Atari, and even going back as far as like old school arcades are kind of retro gaming for me.
Yeah.
Ben, what's your idea of retro gaming? What does that mean to you?
So for me, the first console that I ever remember playing, my parents got me a Sega Genesis.
Ooh.
Okay, and I played 2 games on that. I played more than 2 games, but the first 2 games, and I can't remember which one I played first. But one of them was the Aladdin game, which people tell me that it was much better on the NES. But I beg to differ. I jumped those hot coals and swung from ropes and all sorts of stuff with the as best as I could.
Okay.
With my Sega Genesis. And then the other game, which is really the one that I spent a lot more time on, was the Jurassic Park game on the Sega Genesis, which was one of my favorite. I would say is probably one of my favorite games. just because I remember that first level. You're that little itty bitty dinosaur, and it took me forever to get past that first level. But when I finally got past it, you could then be a velociraptor, and then there was a level where you could be a T-Rex, and then there was a level where you could be a human, and that just sucked.
Yeah. Once you learn to be a velociraptor, it's like there's more to that game. I didn't need to. I stayed in that level.
Yeah.
What else do you need?
You don't need anything
I don't
else.
remember that game. Maybe I didn't have a lot of games. My mom would never buy me a lot of games, so it was like just playing like Super Mario Brothers over and over and over and over again until you just I think she was really trying to get me to go for a run or something like that, but it didn't work. No, it didn't work.
I'll tell you what. I don't think I knew any other games existed for the Sega Genesis other than those two games.
Really?
Until I went to like friends' houses.
Sonic and Knuckles.
I did play Sonic and Knuckles, but that was way later.
Genesis game.
But
Mhm.
what is retro gaming to you? And
So,
please, for the love of God, don't say PS2.
No. So I think I'm a little smarter when it comes to that. So retro gaming for me isn't really games that I've played. I mean, when I think retro gaming, I think Atari and arcade games and, the NES, probably anything my dad would have played with me when I was really little. Like, he's, as far as I can remember, always had an NES, and we've played Mario, and he caved and bought me a Barbie game, of course, because I'm a girl. So, like, that's retro gaming to me. Like, my first console was the PlayStation 1, and that's not really retro. That's not in my definition of retro games. So, but the first
So if your first console was a PlayStation 1, please tell me you at least played Jet Moto.
I don't even know what that is.
No.
It's
So
okay.
technically, if we're gonna go with the first thing I've ever played games on, like that was mine, not my dad's, was actually the computer. I was a computer gamer first. I don't.
Some people call them PCs.
Yeah.
Some people call it the
PC.
Master Race.
So I played a lot of like Nickelodeon and Disney Channel games on their websites. It was really bad.
I remember those games.
Yeah, and like a crap ton of Barbie games. I'm sorry, that's just what I played. I was a girl. What do you want from me?
Fuel for the Bachelor games that she got nowadays.
I've burned it actually.
I thought you were gonna let James borrow it.
I know I lied about burning it. It's all wrapped in a nice little pink bow, getting ready for James for next weekend. So.
We should definitely do like a Let's Play video of James sitting down on the couch playing The Bachelor.
I want to record the first 20 minutes. I think it'd be
that.
fantastic.
Let's do this.
But I mean, yeah, my PlayStation 1 was my first real console that I had. So, and I played a lot of Crash Bandicoot. A lot. Like a
Crash
lot.
Bandicoot's a fun game.
Yeah, it is.
Good.
So, but
James,
that's still not retro to me, so.
You're the oldest of us, right?
Of the three of you, no, definitely not.
Okay, then what's retro gaming to you?
Well, my first console that I remember is also an Atari. I think my number was the 8600, but I don't know. I don't really remember playing many games on it. I just have memories of my family members playing it. And the same goes for the NES. I have vivid memories of my mom and brother playing the original Zelda. That's pretty cool.
Really
the first
hard,
games.
by the way.
So what?
I don't think I ever beat that game. I don't know how anyone beat games when they were kids. Like
No,
Zelda
I
was
definitely
the
didn't.
hardest game to me when I was a kid. That one and like Mega Man, I could just never get through. Forget about it.
I'm thoroughly
Mega Man
convinced
2.
that retro games don't have endings. They're just on like an endless loop.
I feel like that's a great point to throw back to our. Does video games need plot? Like, look back to the old days. You didn't need plot like Pac-Man. It's like, I'm a yellow thing. I'm eating ghosts.
The only plot you needed in old school games was whatever you could like get from the cover of the game. That was
And
pretty
what
much
you
it.
made up, man. It's all about your imagination.
It's true.
But the first
Which kids
console
have
I
none of
ever owned really was Super Nintendo.
Okay.
I remember the Christmas I got it, and my brother and I got Super Mario World and A Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, which is my favorite Zelda game to this day. And I remember playing the first couple worlds of Super Mario just over and over and over because I don't know why I didn't progress. I was a kid. It was whatever. You
I don't know why I played the first level of this game so many times, but damn, I was
just
good
got
at
playing.
it.
Yeah, it's fun.
Mastered it.
Yeah, you really do. But I still I would consider Super Nintendo like that is where I would say retro gaming kind of ended. Was the start of the Super Nintendo. For me, it's always going to be NES, Atari, and arcade games. I mean, to this date, my favorite favorite arcade game of all time will always be Galaga. I will play the shit out of Galaga until my hands and wrist hurt from hitting that button so many times. And
no, really, I have seen a Galaga machine take a shit when he plays. It's not a pretty sight.
that was my 21st birthday. That scarred me for life.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it anymore now. But
Let's all have a moment of silence for that Galaga machine.
every big milestone in my life, 18th, 21st, couple other times after that, all had Galaga in them, and so I feel I've got this strong emotional bond with that game. But I mean, that's what I think of when I think of retro gaming. That's my definition.
That's cool. So we do have a very broad range of what retro gaming is. You mentioned arcade games, James. Nick and Nikki. How do you feel arcade games? Where do you feel arcade games fall into the retro gaming sphere?
I mean, I think well, for me, retro gaming is pretty much anything before, like, the last console generation, I would say. So, like, I think, we're in the... I still put a smack dab in the middle of the Xbox 360 and PS3 console generation. So anything before that kind of is, to me, retro to some degree. But, I mean, arcades, like I said, those are the things that I remember spending a lot of time in when I was a kid because you really had no other outlet, right? I don't know. I mean, they're still making a lot of the games that started there. One of the first games I remember really being addicted to in an arcade was Street Fighter II, and that was, I mean, they're still making iterations of the Street Fighter franchise today, right? So that's kind of where everything comes from.
Yeah. Do you guys feel that we miss out on having arcades now? Do you miss arcades?
No.
No, because I mean they partially still exist where I live.
Well,
I mean,
Nikki, you live in the middle of nowhere. It doesn't
I
count.
do. So like, I mean, we're still retro here, but like, I mean, if you go to the pizza place, all that G is doing the entire time is probably playing a video game.
It's because that man has his priorities straight.
I know.
I don't miss arcades because my growing up didn't really have arcades in them. That was more the 80s, I feel.
80s and, to mid-90s probably is when I remember that.
I'm telling you never went to a Chuck E. Cheese and played.
Yeah, but those were really arcade games because I remember Whack-A-Mole when I used to go to Chuck E. Cheese. Like, I was like, this is an exercise in frustration.
We're getting to the point where arcades, your typical arcade, a lot of them have several machines that are just giant versions of mobile games. It's like, I can play Fruit Ninja on a screen that's like the size of my torso.
Thank you, Dave and Buster's.
I'm sorry. Any game or console or arcade game that was created before, like, I don't know, 2003, 2004 is retro to me. So it's like, I'm sorry, Fruit Ninja is not an arcade game that is retro. That's an iPhone game you've decided to charge little kids 25 cents a round to play.
Yeah.
50 cents in some places.
Here's the reason I bring the arcades up, because there's been a rise in this new thing. They're called barcades.
Mm.
And there's the last time I was in Orlando, Florida, there was this really great place that James, Kenny, and another guy we met at actually podcast Beyond 300 met us there.
Yeah.
Beyond. James doesn't know. He doesn't live in the IGN world.
Not
yet.
Conditioned to it.
Yeah. We can't even condition him to say ridiculous when everyone says it. So
Ridiculous.
yeah.
I always sigh, and I say it begrudgingly.
You gotta believe in it, and then magic is real.
And then magic is ridiculous.
Click your heels 3 times.
So this place is
That's
called.
like the Harry Potter spell. Isn't that a Harry Potter spell? Ridiculous.
It is a Harry Potter spell.
Yeah.
There you go.
Probably the most ridiculous one, actually.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that hurts my head.
That's what passes for humor these days with the kids. I know. I have to do it.
But no, this place is called Player One, and you go in and you pay like this cover charge. I think it was like $5.
Yeah.
And you go in, and all the bartenders are cosplaying, and
Nice.
they have the entire place is just filled with arcade cabinets. You don't have to pay to play the arcade cabinets. You just walk up and you start playing. And
It is a 21+ bar, just for those who don't know, in
Sounds
the
great.
Orlando area.
yeah.
I need to go.
It is fantastic. If you are in the Orlando area, Player One. Tell them Ben Riddick sent you, and I don't think anything will happen. Yeah.
There's a place like that in Vegas. I think it's called the Pinball Museum or something like that. And you go, they serve drinks. I don't know if they're supposed to or not because it doesn't look like a very sophisticated bar setup. Go in, you can play. I went there with some friends over when I was at NAB in Vegas a few years back, and we took it upon us to dominate in shifts. I might add the old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game.
Oh, I love that game.
So good. We probably spent about $10 a piece because we were a little bit uncoordinated given what we were consuming that evening. I think we could have done it for about a few dollars less. It's pretty fun. You should check it out. It's a bit off the beaten path, but take a cab over there. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
We sat and played through the X-Men arcade game.
We did.
Oh, that thing was amazing.
Yeah, because all the games are free. All you gotta do is pay the cover. So we just kept hitting the new life.
The extra life button.
We just got 300 lives apiece, and we're like, all right, let's do this.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that sounds like so much fun. Where is this, in Orlando?
Yeah, it's so if you're at Disney, it's really, really close to the Disney parks. It's actually
off of I-Drive. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, International Drive. When you're there, definitely go there. It's a really fun place. Kenny, the Gingerbeard Man, co-host of the show, goes there a lot because he works at Disney. So that's a place where him and his buddies go. So if you want to go stock,
you play all sorts of these retro games. You have like little cabinets where you can rent out Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo, N64 games.
And they're like booths.
Yeah. And then you've got a completely separate area that's just full of Xbox 360s, PS3s, and PS4s,
giant
Xbox
TVs.
Ones now. And you can just rent out a game and just play it. So we also sat and played Injustice for like 2 hours.
Oh, that's awesome.
And drank.
And renting the game doesn't cost anything. You just have to have an open tab at the bar.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Sounds fun.
And they've got so much paraphernalia and just like banners, and the bathrooms are Portal themed.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Such a cool place.
That would be amazing if they had a portal in the bathroom where if you went to the bathroom and it just rained from the ceiling.
That would suck.
Horrible, actually, I don't know why I thought that. I want to fix something I said earlier. It's River Raid, not River Run.
River Run. I was saying. I was actually going to say.
I was like, I'm getting this Game of Thrones stuff.
Oh, see, all I was getting was these fun runs in Sacramento.
Yeah, me too. I was like, wait a minute, that's not the name of that game. And then I looked at it, I'm like, yeah, I remember it now. But River Raid, excuse me.
Good. I'm glad you corrected yourself.
That's when you get a little old, your mind starts to go. So I can barely remember yesterday. 25 years ago. Do you remember this game?
Yes. Yes. That game turned into like, I love that game. I mean, not the initial one, but because I never played it, but the generations after that looked a bit prettier. I played the shit out of those. I love those games.
Everybody say hello, listeners.
Hello, listeners.
Hello, listeners.
At Albel_88 asks, what retro game did you love as a kid, but you feel did not age very well? I think this is a great question, because I think there are some games that definitely don't age very well, especially when you go back and try to play them again. Nikki, I'm going to throw you on the spot.
I'm really bad because I don't go back and play the games I played as a kid. So I don't know.
Okay. That was a great question.
I'm really bad at that. I'm just telling you, it's maybe a great question for you, but it's not a great question for me because I don't really go back and play over them. Like, I'm sorry, but Crash Bandicoot's held up pretty well to me. So.
You heard it here. Crash Bandicoot held up very well.
Harry Potter didn't hold up very well.
I would actually have to go against Nikki. I've played Crash Bandicoot recently, and was not entirely happy with how it held up, because I remember playing through that game a lot, and I had a blast, but going through it now, I feel like I'm playing it, and then like I could be playing Uncharted right now instead.
Yeah.
See, I feel like that's kind of. Maybe we're skipping ahead. I don't want to get to your other.
No, that's fine. Go for it.
Of them. But you mentioned earlier like a question about, maybe this was before we were live streaming actually, but what should younger generations be be exposed to our retro games. I feel like the answer to that is of course, but they're not going to like them. There's no kid that's going to play a game from when I was a kid now and think that it's anywhere close to relevant. It's just not fast enough.
I disagree. Because I've seen kids super young playing with iPads and stuff. Like, I'm sorry, yeah, but if you introduce your kid to an iPad or an iPhone at the age of 2, that's all they're going to want to play. But if you try and keep them away from that, because I have friends whose kids can't fall asleep without an iPad, it's like, take that away from them. Give them something that you liked playing as a kid, and maybe if that's the first thing they get a hold of, they'll become accustomed to it, and then what they see later on, like a PlayStation 4, they'll be completely amazed with it. Like introduce them to something not so high-tech first, and then give them the cooler stuff later.
See, I feel like, though, if I had kids, which I don't, but if I did, I'd want them training on whatever the newest, most badass system was so that they could, like, take over the world by the time they were 12. I feel like kids today are way smarter than we are.
Yeah, but I also want them to, I want my future kids to know what those awesome games are, and the reason that I got into gaming. I want them to play Crash Bandicoot Warped and Army Men and Twisted Metal and, Mario with my dad, not on a Wii. I want them to play it on the old school thing because, it's a bonding experience for their other relatives and everything.
Yeah, I feel like you want that, but there's always that's what all parents want for their children is for the children to appreciate where their parents came from, and it never works that way. All kids are like, dude, that's lame.
No, I don't know.
But here's
because I'm a big Footloose and old school movie music fan.
Are you talking about the Footloose with Kevin Bacon or the remake? Because if the remake is old school to you.
Oh yeah, that remake is totally old. Oh my god, can you believe it? No. The original with Kevin Bacon,
It's the truth. Yeah. That movie is amazing.
Yeah, Gone with the Wind, Shag.
I hear Kevin Bacon still peels glitter off of himself from that last scene in Footloose.
Oh my god! You know how many times I've actually wished that I could have just been at that party.
Make it rain glitter.
That dance looks so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sad. Yeah. I wish I could dance like actually. I would have taken Chris. Which one was that? Which was Chris? He died. Who was his friend in Footloose?
Oh God, I haven't seen Footloose.
Chris Penn. It was Chris Penn, Sean Penn's brother.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Penn, actually, who passed away a few years ago, but he couldn't dance at the beginning, and that I felt really strongly, related to that character because I can't dance still. But I wish Kevin Bacon would come teach me how to dance.
So you could dance if you want to, and you could leave your friends behind.
I could.
I feel we've already made that reference before.
I feel like you do podcasts week after week, you end up making the exact same references a lot.
Probably.
Pass them off.
Going back to the previous question is games that did not age well. We're going real far back for this one.
Get in there.
I would mention probably N64 shooters, like Perfect Dark or 7.
I'll still play GoldenEye today.
What? GoldenEye is GoldenEye holds up really well.
It doesn't hold up well as a game itself. What doesn't hold up are the controls.
Oh yeah, they were miserable.
All right, you gotta use the C buttons to move, and then aim with the joystick, and it amazes me that I apparently had such good coordination with that to be able to shoot people at somewhat efficiently.
Do you remember
now I'm all used to a mouse and keyboard or the joysticks.
Do you remember how foreign that felt the first time you held that controller?
Yes, I was like, what? I hated it, but then I loved it at the same time. It was weird. And then you came out with games like with Turok that made you use the left hand for the D-pad. I just couldn't get used to that.
Turok Fog Hunter, that was a great game.
Yeah.
I love that game.
So I feel like the control scheme for that didn't hold up well. Not gonna bash GoldenEye. Trust me.
Good.
Yeah, because Nintendo's current control schemes are so much better too. They've really iterated perfectly on those. Although I don't play too much stuff on the Wii U, so. But,
my only complaint with the Nintendo controller right now, with the Wii Pro controllers, is that the thumbsticks are above all the buttons. So you know how on a PS4 controller, the thumbsticks are down here and all the buttons
I'll give you a reference.
Yeah.
There you go. They're down bottom.
Yeah.
Got it.
Whereas the Wii U controllers, those thumbsticks pretty much switch the buttons with the thumbsticks. Which completely messes up how I hold a controller. Yeah. Because I have my thumbs on the thumbsticks, my index fingers on the buttons, and my middle and ring fingers on the triggers. Yeah. So I hold controllers weird.
Well, you guys are
you do.
You guys, right?
What? I played a lot of Xbox, too.
Okay.
So. But that's also how I held an Xbox controller.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I made fun of that when we were younger.
Oh yeah, I guess so.
But it's like the easiest way to hold it because you can get all the buttons.
See, I think I still do this, and then I'll get up there for the R and left, like left and right.
That's what I always did.
I'm just like two hands.
Because, I mean, I grew up on a PS1 where you couldn't like. It was weird to get the R2 and R1 buttons because they were the same size, whereas now they've got like that comfortable back bumper for the 2s.
Yeah.
So I mean, I just had to learn to swap with my index fingers between when I needed, and I can like overlap them and hit them both at the same time. It's not a problem because that's just how I grew up holding my controller.
That's an advanced right
Long
there.
story short, you're weird, Ben.
I know I'm weird, but I can hit all the buttons all at once if I wanted to.
Okay.
That's not the point I'm getting at. The point I'm getting at is I can't do that on a Wii U controller because
normal people.
Because the thumbsticks would become index sticks, and that just doesn't work for me.
Nope.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think you could do it though. I believe in you. I think if you tried, you put your mind to it.
Have you tried turning the controller upside down?
Yeah, you can do that too.
You know what? I never thought of that. Then just work with inverted controls all the time.
Yeah, that'd be interesting thing you can do.
Let me ask you guys. Let's go around the room. When you do shooters, are you inverted?
Yes.
No.
Ben?
No.
James.
See, I thought most people were inverted. And
I thought everyone was. It's like old school PC gaming, but I guess I'm wrong.
Then when I started telling people at middle school I'm inverted, they're like, "The hell's wrong with you?" I just thought it was everybody did.
Have you ever seen the Freddie Wong video? Friends don't let friends play inverted.
I think I have actually.
I haven't, but it sounds awesome.
Yeah. You must see this video if you haven't.
I love Freddie Wong.
Yeah. No, I don't play inverted, but I can't do anything flying or vehicles unless it's inverted.
Yeah, that's how it started for me though, because I used to play games like X-Wing and like.
Yeah, I was about to say that same thing.
Rogue Squadron was my
game on PC, and so everything was inverted. So when I got to shooters, it was just natural. I think the first shooter I ever played that had that sort of control, it was default inverted, and I never went back. I just played that. It was probably like, I want to say Quake, maybe.
Quake.
And it was just there. I'm like, this makes sense to me because up is down and down is up when you play flight games. What was it? Red Baron? What were those?
Oh, Red Baron was a good one.
There was Aces Over the Pacific. I think there was that series.
I didn't play that one.
Oh, it was so good. And there was one where you actually play. It was like World War I, and then there was World War II simulator. It was flight simulators. I loved those when I was a kid. I used to have to trick out my machine to be able to play them correctly. It was the bomb. War gaming was big. We're talking about like late 80s, early 90s.
So, kind of going back to, let's actually ask the question on, do you think kids should have to start playing retro games? And you guys were mentioning, or Nick, you actually specifically said that you think we should make them play it, but then they'll play it and they'll immediately just hate it.
Correct. I mean, I don't have kids again, but I have friends that have kids, and whenever you tell your kid that the kid should like something, I'm pretty sure they're going to tell you what to do with yourself. And I just think it's also an attention span thing, right? Whenever everyone else's friends, when I was a kid, when my friends had better stuff, I wanted the better stuff.
What if I don't want my kids to have friends?
Then you're just probably doing them a great service.
Okay. I want them to have the same kind of childhood I had.
Also, can you
alone and miserable.
Tell them that they shouldn't have any tolerance for other races or ethnicities either. Just go straight into that.
Yeah, you know what? I agree. And they should hate Jewish people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, or
any
actually
other religion that's not their own.
Because everyone loves Italians right now. Someone should hate us.
Yeah. Okay. There we go.
We Italians are adorable and forever will be.
We're too cute. We have awesome facial hair and back hair.
They're well trimmed and just beautiful.
It's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
We get tweets in the middle of our podcasts about them. What more do you want?
Also, on the kids,
Nick gets tweets about his beard on the podcast.
I've gotten some before. Don't act otherwise.
It's so dark. It's just like negative space. It's like no light hits this right here. It's amazing. No, on the kids front, like I just don't think that's. I think you always want your kids to have that appreciation for the things that you appreciated, and I just don't think it's realistic. I think if I were a kid right now and there was an NES in front of me or an Xbox One in front of me, I would fantasize about the Xbox One. I would have to play it. I would have to be playing Titanfall if I could.
I feel like there are so many games that are coming out that are kind of going back to that retro style. I mean, we're seeing a lot of games that are doing more of that pixel art and chiptune-y kind of music and stuff, that I feel like they don't necessarily have to go back to retro because retro is coming back to them.
It's probably pretty fair.
What
with
a big
games
appeal
like
with it is.
Limbo, and I mean it's not necessarily pixel art, but it's that side-scrolling kind of fun. Yeah, exactly.
I think what a big draw with it is, and this is why I love old school RPGs and stuff like that, is because a lot of the gaps of how you would imagine a character looking or a conversation playing out without voice acting is you fill in the gaps with yourself with your own imagination and how it works for you. And I think that is a big appeal of why retro is kind of coming back, Yeah. So when I think, I want my kids to play, games that I grew up on, I think for some games, like I would love for my kids to go back and actually enjoy, my favorite RPGs like Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy VI and whatnot, because of the same reason that they would, anything they didn't understand, they would fill it in themselves and enjoy it.
Yeah, I didn't think about it before, but the way you guys are talking about retro games, I almost feel like some retro games foster a better imagination in kids.
Well, also, there's a lot of great story playing in games right now, but
absolutely,
when we were kids, there were some amazing stories being told, and you used a lot of that, your imagination to kind of fill in the gaps of, the lack of amazing graphics like we have today, but like early JRPGs and things like that. Like I had a buddy of mine that loved Final Fantasy series back then, and I was like, I don't get this, and he's like, you just gotta play it, man. You just have to like experience it and understand it, and like read everything about it. I'm like, it looks dumb, it looks simple, it's not what I want to be doing. But he was right, I was wrong.
Yeah. And Ben, you mentioned how games used to inspire imagination in a different way. I mean, I think of like what one game would you guys think is the most popular amongst I would say like 8 to 12-year-olds right now.
Right now,
I would say Minecraft.
Minecraft. Oh yeah, I didn't even think.
At the restaurant I work at all the time, I see kids coming in with their iPads and their iPhones, and they're sitting at the table and they're clicking away and they're making stuff, and that's got that same.
There need to be rules at the dinner table about playing video games at it, I think.
Oh, that bothered me so bad when people bring their kids into the restaurant and they let them sit there on a 3DS and there's a coloring sheet right in front of them.
I mean, I was the same way as a kid.
I just don't like when people bring their kids into restaurants.
That too.
There you go. At the end of the day, that's what it is.
I don't care. I'm like, why is your kid in Taco Bell right now?
But I mean, Minecraft has that, old school inspired art.
It does. I'll tell you one thing right now. What I wish, if I could go back and change one thing about my life, I wish I'd have started a Minecraft channel on YouTube like 3 years ago or 4 years ago. I would just be retired right now.
Yeah.
God, it's like
the one guy who spends like an hour every day just trying to walk to the end of Minecraft.
Is there?
That's seriously.
Yes. And he makes a shit ton of money off of it for the ads and the views and all that.
Yeah, he probably just tapes his controller and just walks away.
Yeah, but that's what he does, and people love it.
That's
They're doing
amazing.
this other game too. I forget which one it is though, but it doesn't matter because
sure
we're the coolest show on the internet. So
100%. Yeah, don't pimp other shows out on your show. You don't want your audience leaving. You want them coming back to you, addicted to you, and that sweet Big Mike.
Did you notice that I didn't say who it was?
Oh, I can find out.
People are going to Google that, and they'll know.
It's James.
It's James.
Is it James?
People are more than capable of Googling themselves.
So retro games. Another thing about retro games is they were hard.
They were really hard.
Balls.
Like Mega Man. Did you guys play Mega Man?
Yeah, it was really hard. I think I got
one of the hardest games I've ever played.
I don't think that I realized how to play Mega Man because I'm good friends with Colin, and obviously Colin Moriarty at No Taxation that's like his game, right? That's the game he loves, I think, probably more than anything. And he was like, "Oh no, you didn't do it right. You had to do this, this, and this." I was like, "Dude, there was nothing to explain that stuff. We didn't have Google. We didn't have the internet. I didn't understand how to play. Like
you were not my neighbor."
Yeah, like I wasn't subscribing to Nintendo Power. Like I didn't know barely knew that magazine really existed. I mean, I was granted I grew up in sort of like a cave, but Yeah,
oh my god, did you grow up in the Batcave? Are you Robin?
What's that?
Did you grow up in a Batcave? Are you Robin?
Why are you saying that because I'm short?
Well, no one has
you
seen
sure?
him and Robin in the same room together, so.
This is true.
You know what always astounded me is how kids, like, there's, there was no internet like we have today. There was no forums to talk about all the strategy or whatever, but yet word would always spread about the same, like, game cheats, whether they worked or didn't work. Like, I think back to Pokemon, the original Blue and Red and the glitch to get 99 Master Balls, that legitimately worked, and it just passed through word of mouth. Or that you could get Mew if you ran to that one truck, for whatever.
No, you could get missing now.
No, not through the truck. The truck was all about Mew, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure it
Oh
was.
yeah, you're right. The
And
missing no was in the water.
Up and
or
down
along-
on the fire island or whatever.
Yeah.
But we figured that stuff out. People beat Legend of Zelda. People beat Mega Man. Like, we were diligent.
Did people beat Mega
I guess
Man?
not we.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it happened at least twice.
Okay.
Maybe 3 times, but don't quote me on that.
But do you think games have gotten too easy? Or do you think that it's good that they're at the difficulty?
I think
they're
games
at
have
now?
gotten steered more towards their storyline than gameplay, probably.
I
Because
think
I mean, with lack of a storyline in older games, you had to have a game that took you longer to beat or more time to play, right?
arguable, but yeah, I definitely see your point.
Well,
and I
obviously it's
agree.
arguable.
I agree with you. I think it's just. I don't think it's a question of whether or not it's gotten easier. It's a difference of what do the consumers want. And back then it was the whole fascination with video games was the fact that holy crap, this exists as a thing that I can do. And now kids are growing up on it, but they want something more sophisticated.
Yeah.
And
Do
something
they want something more
playable.
sophisticated, or do they just want something that's gonna like grab their attention really fast and then like punch them over and over again in the mouth with sugar cereal? Like I feel like everything in society right now for a child has to hook them in the first 5 seconds, has to be like only a 30-second long experience, and be like completely consumable and disposable. Maybe that's just a jaded view that I have on society right now, but everywhere I look, there are kids that are playing with their dad's iPhones and things like that, and I'm like, I don't think my parents would have put that in my hand when I was a kid.
Yeah, absolutely not.
I say that, but then I think back to when I had a Game Boy, and like, I don't think I ever put that thing down, and all I had was Tetris for it. So it was like, how many times can you play Tetris before you go insane? What, did you just throw that dart at a cat? What did you just...
I did. No, they were hissing at each other, and I threw a pen at him, and he just sprang like 4 feet into the air because he had no idea what happened.
So
I even muted my microphone so that would go unnoticed, but man, you just called me out on it.
Yeah, I know that. I used to. That's like when you throw. I grew up with dogs and cats, so I know that. I know that like the dart throw. Sort of, you don't want to cause optimal harm, but you do want to cause just a little bit enough to like freak them out a little,
For me, it's job security because I work as a veterinary nurse. So.
Oh, that's nice. Congratulations on that. That's actually like a really cool profession. You're doing something good for the world.
Oh, am I?
Yeah, I think so. Well, it's better than covering video games, because who the hell needs that?
Yeah, no one needs that.
Don't down talk our entire topic on our podcast, please.
Yeah. No,
Wait. What are video games?
They make up
it's
lots of
it's
gigabytes.
bigger than a box.
What's a bread box? How big is that in relation to a car?
If you made a bread box into data, how much space would that be? A mega or? Nikki, you got?
I think a bread box would. Nikki, I'm pretty sure a bread box would be like a terabyte, if that's the thing.
Yeah.
Nikki, real quick,
Okay.
which one of these is not a real thing? Megabyte, trigabyte, terabyte, or gigabyte?
Trigabyte.
All right.
Good job!
Woo! I won! Precursor to next week's trivia.
Because my face smiled when I said trigabyte.
Yeah, no, I just knew that wasn't one anyway. I never heard of the other three, so I'm a little too smart for that, kind of.
Just
Kind of. What you really should have done is you should have asked her which one of these is not a thing. A kilobyte, a megabyte, a gigabyte, or a terabyte.
Well, that would have broken her brain. That's not fair.
Oh, I already did.
She's already.
Yeah, her brain's already broken.
Look at her.
We got it. We did it.
It's alright. I already unlocked the trophy for my douchiness.
But do you guys have anything else you want to say about retro games?
Play them.
I like them. I like them good.
Okay.
Play games. Just play games. Period.
Yeah.
Keep
I
playing.
like how a lot of, well, I guess mostly Nintendo, but other places too have been like releasing, remakes on their digital market, like Xbox Arcade and stuff like that. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, like when Mega Man came out on the PlayStation Network, that was like all I played, and
I mean that whole thing even got a new Mega Man game out, which I think is some of the coolest stuff of all.
oh, and freaking Nick spoke about it earlier. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, when it came out on on Xbox Marketplace, that's where I played it on the Xbox. I played that nonstop for like weeks.
That was a while ago, right? Was that years ago?
What?
How long ago was that?
That came out on the network.
Yeah.
Online? That was Ben. You were still in Florida at that point.
I was still living in Florida at that point, so more than 3 years ago.
Got it.
And I had an Xbox at that point, so more than 5 years ago.
Wow. Okay. That's how old I am. Because I remember that. I remember that being. Well, I was at IGN when that happened, so I got to track how many years I've been there.
There you go.
I've been there too long.
You know what I would love? I would love a good new Battletoads game. In fact, I think everybody should call up their local GameStops and ask for Battletoads.
Is that how things get done?
That's how things get.
that's how games get made. Call your local GameStop and say, "Hey."
Or feel free to send IGN, just IGN in general, an email stating that we have to make that game.
Yeah.
We get that a lot.
Tweet at Nick_Scarpino.
Nick, who's your friend? Would he be able to get us Battletoads as well as tell us how to run Instagram?
I think the thing about it is this, guys. If you want any game made, any game, Battletoads, doesn't matter. You tweet at Tim Geddes and ask him to make that game. But the problem is sometimes he's got so many followers he doesn't see it. You got to do it 2 to 3 times a day for the next 6 weeks, please.
Got it.
He's a great game maker. I can vouch for that.
Phenomenal. It's like Kojima, him, Miyamoto,
Jeff Rubenstein. Don't forget him and his wife because they make the minis.
There you go. So tweet at Tim Geddes, CC at Harlequin 103.
No, I'm not a good game maker. I fuck up the games or I make them Barbie games. So.
You've got such a cool Twitter handle because I think that's a Batman reference to the 103rd Harlequin, right?
Yeah.
That's it. You got it.
Not a Batman reference. Nikki hates Batman.
That's the weight class that I was in high school on the wrestling team.
Oh, I thought you literally tried to get it 102 times before the 103rd time. It was like, no, 103 is free. And you're like, right on, I got it.
Yeah, that would have been a cooler story.
Anyways, let's go ahead and wrap up the show.
All right.
Real quickly, Nick, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me if you want to follow me on Twitter at Nick_Scarpino. I frequent the IGN happenings every once in a while. I appear on camera there, but also we have a little channel called youtube.com/GameOverGreggy that we post content to every day.
Fun show. I love it.
What's Fantastic. That? Thank you. Yeah, we have a lot of fun making it. You can find that if you want just the podcast only on GameOverGreggy.bandcamp.com every Friday, or if you want to wait till the next week, we put the show out in pieces on youtube.com/GameOverGreggy. So it's a great channel. We have a lot of fun making all that content, so please check it out.
Content is fun.
Yes.
You in the corner. Where can they find you?
Okay, I'm guessing you're talking about me. I'm in a corner. Oh, Capelli's Corner. Got it.
There we go.
Find me on Twitter at Sarah Capelli. That's SER_CAPELLI. Yeah. Maybe I'll get
James does a lot of stuff on the internet.
Yeah. Maybe I'll get some more stuff written for Riddickulous reviews or rants and whatnot, and then you'll find more of my stuff there.
There you go. Nikki, where can people find you on the internet?
Find me on Twitter, Instagram, and PSN at HarleyQuinn103, and every other week on the Lipstick Nerds podcast. And tomorrow is a live episode we're recording, which is Monday, what day is tomorrow?
12th.
May 12th. Yeah, thank you. So we're recording live tomorrow. Me, Miranda, Amanda, and Samantha, all the us that I'm with. And then every week right here on Riddickulous Rants.
Yeah.
Ended up at noon in 2 weeks, right?
Yes, up in 2 or 3 weeks. Thank God. Finally, I can start going again.
I want to see
Nikki,
that.
you have to tell me when you go. I'll go with you.
You got it.
We'll go there. It'll be
We'll
fun.
just make a day out of it. It'll be such fun.
I wish James flew in earlier on Thursday, because then he could go to Up at Noon on Thursday. But
Just come by, even if you don't. You should come by the office and say what's up.
okay, I will do that.
Cool.
You're gonna have Ben like banging on your front door. Nick,
Hey,
says I
Nick
love
said
you.
say hi.
I tweeted Tim Geddes and he's not down here.
Tweeting at him 2 to 3 times a day on a regular schedule. He never gets back to me.
Right.
No, but let me know if you're gonna come. Let me know ahead of time on Twitter, or have Nikki pass you my info, and we'll hang out.
Awesome. I would love that. That'd be fun. And you can always find me on Twitter at Ben Riddick. You can follow the podcast at RiddickulousRT, and that's Riddick spelled Riddickulous.
The English spelling.
Yes, the English spelling, of course.
Thank you, X-Men.
Yeah. Yes, thank you, X-Men. That's how I learned how to spell ridiculous. And yeah, those are the big main places you can find me. You can find me on another podcast called The Poll List, on iTunes, on the web, on this website called www.riddickulousrants.com. And next week, there's a very big event happening.
What is
it? It's really exciting. James is flying all the way from his corner to my corner.
I'm gonna miss it.
And he's going to sit in my corner for a little bit. He's going to be in the Californias, and then not only will he be here, but the Gingerbeard is going to use his gingery powers. He's going to eat some souls, and he's going to teleport all the way to California.
Life.
And Nikki, ow shit.
Mean.
Okay, and Nikki
Curse on this podcast.
is going
Hell.
to drive the entire 2 hours it takes to get here, and we are going to do a show with all 4 of us in the same room, and the theme of the show is trivia. So James is going to be hosting a trivia night for us. He's going to ask us all sorts of nerd culture related questions.
Yep.
And whoever wins, we're gonna make it interesting. We're gonna make some bets, and
Okay.
we're gonna say who wins, and you'll get to see us do some crazy stuff on air. We're also what?
I'm going to be Nikki's phone a friend for that. So Nikki,
Oh, yeah?
the phone a friend, you call me.
You got it. Anything movie related, I'm calling you, man.
Yeah, perfect.
We will also have some prizes to give away on the show. Because believe it or not, this show has been going on for about 6 months now. So I wanted to celebrate.
I have one of our little prizes right here. Quick glimpse. Nice little geek wisdom book someone might be able to win.
And I've got some comic books that I'll be giving away.
But we need your help.
PSN credit, folks.
We need our listeners' help. We need trivia questions and answers sent to james@riddickulousrants.com.
Or just tweet at me or anything like that. Well,
No,
Don't tweet at him,
because
because
then
then
we
we
will see
can
the
read it.
questions and
Direct
answers. The point
message.
is that we don't see them.
you can direct message or tweet from my email address. It'd be a lot easier than trying to remember it over this. That's fine too.
No, we are going to do it one way and one way only. You are going to email james@riddickulousrants.com, the question and answer. If you get it, if your question is one of the questions that's asked, you will be entered into a chance to win one of the great prizes that we have.
Woo.
Does that sound fair, everybody?
Yes.
Fair to me.
I
Super
must
fair.
kill this mosquito.
Good. I'm glad.
You can
James
also
is-
tweet at Tim Geddes to ask him 4 cool questions for trivia.
Yeah.
night.
Yeah, I forgot
He's a
about
trivia
that.
master. Yeah.
Aside from knowing everything about Instagram, he knows everything about trivia. He loves trivia. He loves reading. He also hates Pokemon, so you should tell him that he should start liking Pokemon as well.
Mm.
Noted.
So, just for the listener that tweeted me earlier, at JFossKnight2, tweet at Tim Geddes on how wrong he is about how terrible Pokemon is. Okay.
I'm joking, by the way. He loves Pokemon, but tweet at him anyway. He just
He
did
loves
he did a
tweets.
great video on IGN that's like doing gangbusters reviews called "The 6 Saddest Moments in Pokemon."
I saw that. It was a great piece. I liked it.
That actually is pretty damn good. So, but pretend like I didn't say that. Tweet at him and ask him why he doesn't like Pokemon, because you never know what answer you'll get out of him.
All right,
If any.
guys. I believe it has been one of the most ridiculous evenings we've ever had. And remember, everyone, you cannot spell ridiculous without Riddick.